to a scorching start last night in their first game, just destroying the Bucks. They outscored the world champs 40-17 in the first, went on to win it 137-95. Jimmy Butler at 21, Giannis held to just 15. In Atlanta, the Hawks used a huge third quarter. They blew out the Mavericks 113-87. Trae Young didn't shoot very well. He did finish with 19 points and 14 assists. Luka Doncic held to just 18 in the loss. And as we showed you at the beginning of the show, Steph Curry was unbelievable last night. In the first quarter, he had all 9 of his shots, including 5 threes, 25 in the first, finished with 45 on the night. Warriors beat the Clippers 115-113, and that brings us to this man. Big Perk is ready to go. Kendrick Perkins, thanks for getting up early here. And as we look at what Steph Curry did last night, the season that he had last year and picking up right where he left off, what is he right now in this league as you watch Steph?
Well, Greeny, first of all, I came to the conclusion last night that I'm jealous of Steph Curry. One thing about you and Steph Curry that y'all have in common is that y'all got colorful eyes. Growing up, I wanted colorful eyes, but that's another story. But listen, I will say this, Greeny. Steph Curry is culture. Okay, he's culture. We already know what type of player, fantastic player, and a special player that he is. But when you look at Steph Curry, what he does so well, moving without the ball, he's one of the best ball screeners at the point guard position that this game has ever seen. And when you watch him play, it's starting to rub off on the others. You see guys like Andrew Wiggins, Jordan Poole, Damian Lee, they starting to cut without the basketball. And when you look at the Golden State Warriors, even against the Lakers, they had 31 assists. Last night, they had 27 assists. That ball is passing around like the collection plate at Sunday service. So when I look at Steph Curry, he's just one of one, Greeny.
He is, and they will get Klay Thompson back, we expect, right around Christmas time. Watch out for the Warriors in the West. Meanwhile, of course, the huge story in the NBA continues to be in Philadelphia and continues to revolve around Ben Simmons, and it is a developing story. Simmons expected to meet with the Sixers later this morning to discuss his future with the team. Simmons wants out. But in an interview with a Philadelphia radio station, the president of the team there, Daryl Morey, reiterated they're not going to be in any rush to trade him. Listen to what he said.
Right now, any sort of trade, which obviously Ben Simmons wants, the best thing we can do is get role players back. That makes no sense. People should buckle in. I mean, this is going to go a long time because our only path, my only job is to help us give the best chance to win the title. Ben Simmons is a difference maker, so if we can get him back, he will help us win the title. If we can trade Ben Simmons for a difference maker, we will do it.
A fascinating situation and not clear where the end is in sight. Woj gets up with us early here. He knows all. Woj, what is the very latest on the big picture here with Simmons and his future?
Greeny, I mean, this is a standoff, and the Sixers are going to try to keep forcing Ben Simmons to come in, to practice, to get in the lineup and play. And every day he doesn't do that, they can fine him for games missed, practices missed, meetings missed, and those fines have been accumulating. And so the last thing they want to do is let Ben Simmons leave the team, go off and work on his own where he could get paid, and then they lose their leverage, because the leverage the Sixers have right now on Ben Simmons is being able essentially to keep him from really earning money this season. And so they're going to continue to try to do that and really, I think, wear him down to the point where he does come back and play and he gets involved, because as Daryl Morey said, listen, if they're going to win, they need him on the floor. And if they're going to trade him, I think for, the kind of trade package they want, I think they're going to need him on the floor and playing well again, because right now, and really for the last 4 months, the deals that are out there, they're not good enough to trade Ben Simmons for with 4 years left on his deal.
I think that's the question that so many fans probably have, Woj. What sense can you give us of what it is people are offering? They all know he's in a situation, and by he I mean Morey, that he has to make a deal one way or the other, so that hurts his leverage. What do we know about what the interest is in making a deal for Simmons around the league right now?
Listen, the Sixers could get sort of the kind of deal, maybe a little more modified, that Houston got for James Harden. Young player, draft picks Philly doesn't want, now listen, they would love to add draft picks into a deal or a good young player, but they want back an all-star level, a high-level player that they can plug into the lineup with Joel Embiid in his prime, with Tobias Harris in his prime. But Philly is not looking for those kinds of packages, and so it is very difficult for them, and they've been unable so far to find kind of that high-level all-star player someone wants to give back. Teams want to add that kind of they want to add Simmons to that kind of a player. And so those deals aren't available to them. And so they're going to just hold on to Simmons because, as Daryl Morey said, trading him for role players, that pushes them further away from a championship. So when he says we'll go 4 years with this under Ben Simmons, I don't think they'll go 4 years, but I do think they'd go a full year of doing this.
Wow, so buckle up might really be the right way to put it. Big Perk, give me some players' perspective on all this. How do you see it shaping up? What do you make of it?
Well, Green, I'm gonna take it a step further. Listen, this is not just about Ben Simmons and the 76ers. This is about the players and the ownership. This is a standoff between these two parties. And let me tell you why, okay? I knew that it was going to come to this point where one owner was going to stand on the front line and say, you know what, enough of this. We're not bound down to guys trying to force their way out. And so what's happening is Daryl Morey talked on the radio yesterday. You know why? Because he has the full support of his ownership. And what happens behind the scenes is that owners are now starting to talk and say, you know what? Hey, enough is enough. We're tired of guys making this type of money and acting the way that they are. We look at the James Harden situation. You look at the Anthony Davis situation. All I can say is that the owners right now are looking forward to the next 3 or 4 years when the CBA is up.
This is going to be fascinating again in the short term and the long term. Woj, awesome. Big Perk, we'll check with you later. So much.
Sixers shoot around today to discuss his playing status with organizational leadership, sources tell ESPN. The Sixers play the Nets on ESPN, and the team is still hopeful that Simmons will participate in shoot around. So it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Here is Daryl Morey on 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is a very good player. And to give ourselves the best chance to win the title, you need difference makers. You don't need role players. Right now, any sort of trade, which obviously Ben Simmons wants, the best thing we can do is get role players back. That makes no sense. That will give us no better chance to win the title if we were to move Ben Simmons for role players. So people should buckle in. I mean, this is going to go a long time because our only path, my only job is to help us give the best chance to win the title. Ben Simmons is a difference maker, so if we can get him back, he will help us win the title. If we can trade Ben Simmons for a difference maker, we will do it. I think that's best for everyone in this situation.
Wow, what a toxic environment this is going to create. And what Daryl Morey just said was unnecessary bravado. I don't know why you would say that publicly. And let's call it what it is. When he said buckle in, this could be a long 4 years, that's a bluff. That's a bluff. You're not going to do this for 4 years. Joel Embiid is 27 years old. You're telling me you're going to make Joel Embiid go through 4 years of Ben Simmons going in and out on a team until he's 31? That's not going to happen. I just don't understand that in order to get this done, and look, I get it. As a business person, like, I'm going to make a hard stand. You don't have to do that publicly, Key. And now what it does is Ben Simmons is going to come back. From what I heard from my sources, Ben Simmons does want to play, but mentally he can't get over the hump of some of the things that have happened between him, Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid, and company. So he is mentally checked out. They have told them multiple times he is mentally checked out. So right now, this is a battle of egos. And the only person that can fix it, in my opinion, is Doc Rivers, because Doc Rivers is going to have to get to a point where he tells Daryl Morey, if it keeps festering and getting out of control, that I don't want to go through this. I can't go through this anymore. I know you think Ben Simmons coming back can enhance his value, but guys, from everything I've been hearing through camps I've been talking to, you're not going to get the Ben Simmons that you thought you were going to get from last year. You're not going to get a better version of that. That's not going to happen.
That's Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
No compromise.
No compromise.
Exactly.
No compromise. When you check out of something, you typically are gone. I've been there mentally before. I put my house on the market at the beginning of the season. Very similar to Ben Simmons putting his house on the market in Jersey. I put my house on the market at the beginning of the season in Tampa Bay. I was checked out. I was already done. Y'all got to move me. I don't care. It doesn't matter. And I think Ben Simmons is at that point. I don't understand, like Jay said, I don't understand management stepping out, talking about it's going to be a long ride, buckle up, 4 years. You're not – I don't even know why you say that. Because you know and I know at some point you have to move on from the distraction. And the distraction is part Ben Simmons and part the organization because they're continuing to create this environment where now all of a sudden players have got to answer to the mess that you've now put out there when people put microphones in the front of their face. They've got to go to games thinking about Ben Simmons opposed to trying to figure out the best scenario and situation to get the value for Ben Simmons. Now I understand you don't want to move him for less than what you think the value is. But the longer that you keep stepping out there and getting in front of microphones and talking about what his value should be, the less value you're going to get back in return.
You just devalued him by saying publicly that you're only getting role players for him.
Yes.
Why would you do that? You don't do that.
Yeah.
You don't say anything at all.
You're not getting James Harden.
I want to make a distinction here for a second. I don't even think right now it's about not getting full value for Simmons. What Daryl Morey said is he needs a difference maker. So it may be a lesser player than Simmons, but it can't be just an interchangeable part.
Well,
it
you
needs
said
to be something a little special.
But what's a little special?
So
What's a little special, Jay?
Yeah, that's a good question.
James Harden was
that's
special.
very special.
Well, that was
That's
the one that
very
they went
special.
for, right? But
Why would the
unfortunately,
Nets give him up?
unfortunately for Tim Fertitta, him and Daryl Morey, that relationship was a little bit soured with the way Daryl kind of left. And obviously Tim was like, I'm not going to give you James Harden. I'm going to make that trade with Brooklyn.
Right.
But I think that sends, because Daryl was very close to James. That was a relationship in which Ben Simmons was like, okay,
Trains left the station.
if that was a deal, he was down for that deal. He was down to make that one happen. It just didn't go through.
Here's a little special, right? Not just a role player, a Buddy Hield. They're shooters, but then there are guys who are shooters, and it's a little more than just getting, like he's really, really good at that job, right? Someone who's not just an average starter, but an impact player in some way, even if it's not a superstar. C.J. McCullough's always thrown out there, right? Someone
C.J.
who-
McCullough, Jay?
Well, that deal that was supposedly on the table, but I heard Portland kind of rejected that. But that was C.J. McCollum, Robert Covington, and potentially a draft pick, right? But there were opportunities earlier in the year to make a trade. Daryl Morey decided to say, you know what? Nah, I'm not getting the return on value I want.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of created this
Miscalculation.
rift.
Does Golden
Yes.
State have anything, Jay, that they would take back?
I mean, unless Golden State was willing to give in, James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, but I don't think Golden State wants to do that. And my thing is, let me ask you though, King. Let me ask you,
who has depth.
you're the GM of another team. I'm the GM of another team. I'm seeing all this happen. Why would I give you extra value? Why would I give you one of my difference makers? I know that eventually
you have
you're
to match
going
salary, I would say. Maybe if you have to
but
match
Max,
salary.
I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to wait to see how this keeps panning out because his value is only going to get worse for you if he's decided that he doesn't want to, that he's not going to go through this.
Maybe there's another option, by the way. I keep bringing this up. If you expand the deal, even if it's a 3-team deal, and you go, okay, Simmons, we're not going to get but if we include Simmons and Maxey and Thibault and a draft pick, can we actually get a player better than Simmons? So it's not just Simmons for someone else or for a package, but Simmons as part of a nice package for someone who's even better.
But those other teams have got to want what you're willing to offer up, because why would they water down their roster
No doubt,
to take
but
the trash that you don't want?
Thibault ain't trash.
But I'm saying
good.
depending on where they land and what teams. Like I'm not giving you what I like because you don't like what you got.
And here's another point that nobody's talking about. Say we go through this for a year.